Happy Thursday. How's it going, guys? How are you? Guys ready for the holidays? All of the fun stuff that's going to be coming down the line? Yeah, we're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna talk about some stuff that I've talked about before, but today I'm gonna talk about it from a different angle. But yeah, I just want to say hello to everyone. Bailey, hello. Happy Friday to you. Wow, it's pretty early. It is. Yeah, I may reach out to you because I have a question on that side of the world. So I may reach out to you a little bit later. So look for me kind of stalking you somewhere. Roger, hello. Happy Thursday to you. Mac, how are you? Melanie, nice to see you guys here. Avars. Okay, if you haven't checked out Avar's stream, make sure you go check it out because he started live streaming, and this guy is turned into live stream beast mode. I think today he live streamed for 5 hours. He does it so casually and so well, and he just kind of chats while he works. It's a great stream, especially if you're into development and ISO development. That's definitely your opportunity to get some really good information if you're on the freelance and self-employed part. He has some great info. But yeah. Bailey finished school for the year yesterday. Thank God it is over for the year. Well, congrats on half a semester. Or no, for the year. Or for this year. Anyways, I don't know how your semesters work. But it is. Yeah, you guys liking the new angle? You liking the new camera setup? Let me know what your thoughts are. I still have not made a decision on what camera I'm going to fully commit to. There's the C200. This is my daily carry. This is my rig. It's a nice little contraption here. It's my handheld small rig, and I have a shoulder mount rig that's up there. Yeah, that's my small camera setup. Yeah, we're going to be talking about a jack of all trades. And I know that you've heard the quote before. I know that you've heard the jack of all trades and the master of none. But let's talk about that, because that's actually not the full quote. So, and this is what sparked this whole idea, where I've known the full quote, and I've also, played with one and the other. Let me just find that image. It's somewhere. It doesn't want to download. But anyways, let me find that. But yeah, so when you hear the term jack of all trades, master of none, what is the first thing that pops into your mind? What do you think of? Like, do you think of like, oh, should I actually try to just focus on one area and master it the best I can? Like spend the other idiom, the 10,000 hours and become really good at that thing? Or should you go into the jack of all trades and be able to accomplish a whole bunch of things without being a master at any one particular thing? Let me just find the full quote. Jack of all trades, full quote. Can I get it up here? Now I'm trying to find who the actual person is that said the quote. I don't think it's Evel Knievel. Maybe it is. I don't think it's Adam Savage, but it's been attributed to quite a few people. Can I bring that one up fully? Let's go. All right. So the jack of all trades and a master of none. No, that's not the right quote. So yeah, if you're a jack of all trades and a master of none, though often better than a master of one. So if you're a jack of all trades and a master of none, but it's often better to be a jack of all trades than a master of one. Like, think of it this way, where someone went very specialized, and let's keep it in the creative camera making field. Let's say they went full cinematography, they went into lighting and just understanding how to light and how to light with film, and they become a master of that. Well, look what happened over the last 15 years. The people that stuck to their guns and didn't want to learn digital, they slowly most of them got transitioned out, unless you were literally the master and people kept hiring you. But you're only able to work on those projects. How many big, huge projects came along where they wanted to work with those cinematographers, but they just said no because they have no idea how to work with a digital format? Now, I'm not saying that it's such a far stretch for them to then pick up a digital format and actually work with it. But there are a lot of people that just went like, no, I'm film only and I'm going to stick that way. I'm going to stick with analog. So the quote is, jack of all trades, master of none, though often better than a master of one. Now, what does that make you think of? Thinking of someone that knows a lot of different trades and is able to perform them well enough, but isn't a master at any one of them. I actually feel that falls in line with everything that you and I do in this creative space, where we know how to use the camera, we know how to import it, how to edit the photos, how to edit the video, how to lay down some music and a little bit of graphics. But if someone were to point and be like, okay, no, I just need you to do graphics nonstop, that wouldn't be our strength. There are people that do that really well. So understanding the full term, jack of all trades. when I hear that, I don't think of like me as like, I know how to do the camera, how to do editing, how to do 3D animation, how to do the color grading, how to take photos, how to direct, how to, art direct, how to do all these things. Like, that kind of falls into that, but it's still within one major mastery, where visual communication falls into visual mastery. Like, I'm trying to be a master of visual communication. So then when you take that step back, when you take a little, 30,000 view of it, and you look at like, oh, I am keeping it within my tight little bubble of one specific thing that I'm trying to become really good at. So it's not necessarily a master of editing or master of camera movement, or, the voiceover king, or, understanding every single thing that's out there for, like, say, microphones, or understanding how to build computers that well. That all falls under one really huge umbrella, that someone can become a master of that one thing, but not have any clue how to fix a leaky pipe or do any kind of plumbing or electrical work. So I always thought of jack of all trades as someone that is really has the basic knowledge, or just a little bit more than the basic knowledge of a specific trade, like plumbing, electrical, carpentry, then project management, then editing, and has all these little modalities that they've kind of went an inch deep but mile wide, right? Where someone that's a master goes an inch wide but a mile deep. So they only really focus on that one thing. But if you think of it more like a bell curve, where instead of going, you go an inch deep, an inch wide and a mile or half a mile deep, but then the next one is 3/4 of a mile and half a mile. And then it does this thing where you've taken this whole section, instead of being here, you've gone 1/4 mile deep or wide, and then you kind of bell curve in. So you have your thing that you really focus on, that you're really good at, and then everything else is what I call skill stacking, where everything just complements the the parabola, not parabola, because that's the parabola. But yeah, it kind of takes that V curve, and you learn those skills, and you actually attribute them to the thing that you're compounding, that you're building upon. And it's the same. Think of it. Let's take the other analogy where, say, you buy a camera and a lens, but now you need a light, but you don't have that. So then you need to buy a light. So then you have to learn a little bit about lighting. Then you need to learn a little bit about, which microphone to use. Then you need to learn about how to position the lights. Then you need to learn about, mic placement. Then you need to learn about, okay, now I have the camera, the lights, and the image. I can get the image to look good. Then I have to import it. But you see how all those little things, you don't need to become master editor where inch wide, mile deep, but like it's in there as part of that whole catalog, that whole that whole connection of skills that complement each other, the skill stacking. Let's just take a look at some of these comments. So Melanie's comment stuck out saying, skill stacking, such a great way to think about it. Yes, because it complements everything that you're trying to do. Because even beyond that, where it's like having to then communicate with clients, how to do invoicing, how to schedule, how to budget, those are all skills that stack onto that first initial creative outlet that you're trying to do. Because once you find a way or figure out a way to get paid for what you do, that becomes part of the mastery of the entire thing. And the further you go along, it's just like updating cameras and lenses and all the gear. You buy something, you use it for a little bit, you sell it, you don't use that tool anymore. You find a better tool that will help you do things better down the line, right? So most of the people that I know started shooting on SD cameras, on 3CCD cameras. And then that went to, kind of half HD, which was 960 by 540, then 1280. And then now we're, every camera, the entry level camera is HD. And if it's not HD, it's just like, it's one of those kid cameras that people buy. So even those get updated as we go. Okay. Yes, definitely more blurred. I'm using the 35 1.8 RF lens on the Canon R. I'm just trying something new. Last week I enjoyed the way it kind of looked, and I didn't have much time to set up. I didn't want to set up this whole thing because it was doing something else at the time, and I didn't want to rebuild my whole setup, so I just tried something new. So I brought the monitor over. There we go. So Mac is saying that it's when you're quite good at several areas, but not deeply good at any, or maybe just one. Yeah. If someone says to me, if someone says that to me, I try to prove them wrong. As someone who has worked alone a lot, and that's where that whole jack of all trades mantra really comes in and really hits home for I know that you and me, because we think of ourselves as that way. We're not that great at one particular thing. But how many times have people turned to you, watching you do your thing, and you're like, and they literally say to you, how is that so easy for you? How you make it look so easy? Or, like, how'd you get so good? Like, what did you do? What did you study? How did you get that good at what you do? When people say those kind of things to you, know that is an indication that you've gone well above jack of that trade. You're no longer a jack of that trade. You're definitely a intermediate to, getting to like between intermediate and master at that point, because you've shown a capability to people that don't even know what you're doing, and you've shown that it's a skill that you've acquired over time, and you've maybe not put in the 10,000 hours, but you've probably into the 2,000 to 8,000 hour range of how much time you've dedicated to learning it, to studying it, to taking tutorials and watching other people do it and trying to replicate that kind of stuff. It becomes very, very evident when people start complimenting you in that way that you seem so knowledgeable about this. Like, how do you know it? You just seem to know it. Those are hints that you may be on the right track to becoming really good at that one thing. And because you have all the skill stack where, the editing, the camera movement, the lighting, all those things kind of bake in. If we're talking just about the creative field in for photos and video, then it does become that curve where all these skills are stacked literally on top of what you have your base, and then it's like this pyramid of other things. And you may not be that good at that last little bit where you're still learning, but like that lower half is just so gigantic that anyone trying to start and trying to emulate what you're capable of doing, they won't be able to do it. And this is something that happens with a lot of beginners, is they watch one tutorial, they pick up the camera, whichever camera it is, and they go out and and then they instantly forget what were the settings again? Or they need to check the notes where it's like, what did I need to do? If you're able to pick up a camera and go into manual mode and, know if you want a blurry background and you want the motion to have a nice motion blur, if you know what I'm talking about, you're already 90% further along the majority of people. So I wouldn't say that's a jack trait. I think I would say that's closer to master than being just, oh, I kind of know it. No, kind of know it is like, I know how to turn on the camera and point it in the right direction, and I know that I should probably backlight and not just be staying in the sun. Like, that's a jack trait. That's someone that understands basically how to do composition, take the photo, and they'll use their iPhone because they're more comfortable doing that, and it gets the job done for people that don't know. Like when a plumber comes in and they've spent the time doing what they do to learn it properly from like a master plumber or a master electrician. When they come in, they instantly know what the problem is and they know how to fix it. Case in point, a couple years back, I needed to replace the drain on my tub because the sealant kind of got loose, so I needed to take that out because I thought there was a bigger issue than there was. So I wanted to take out the actual drain part. I had no idea how to take out a drain. Apparently you just put in this one tool and you twist it and it just literally unscrews. I was like, that was new to me. Literally, would I want to do it again? No, but when a plumber came in, he just grabbed a tool from his kit, put it in, and it was out. I'm not saying that he was a master plumber, but he definitely knew more than someone that just does that as a hobby, where he's seen different scenarios. He's seen all these capabilities that he'll know how to fix. He knows which tools to bring just by what the client is asking for. And that's where you really have to give yourself that credit. Know that you've probably done better than you're assuming, because if you're anything like me, you always question your abilities when you come onto set or when you're about to speak to a new client for the first time. And the goal is to always present it in a confident way. But sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you need to just hear them out, listen to what they're actually asking for. Not exactly what they're saying, but what they're actually asking for. And if you can decipher that, then you'll know what gear to bring. You'll know what tools you'll need to use. And if you know how long a project will be just by having a conversation, you can gauge that. You're definitely in that realm, closer to master than the jack. The king, not the jack, maybe the queen, but the goal is to get to the ace, but there is no perfection, so we may never get there. But if we can get pretty close, then that's pretty exciting. That's a great place to be. So, talking about that, there are pros and there are cons to both. Because if you do focus in on being a master, there's a huge, huge benefit that almost all the people that are in the jack of all trades can never, never do. And that is charge exorbitant amounts of money to do what they do. If you are the best at what you do, people pay through the nose, through the teeth, arm and a leg. They'll throw all that in, you know, baby bathwater. Like that's like the Beyonce's, the Jay-Z's, the Eminems, where they're so good at that one very, very specific thing that they do. Like that's why they get paid that kind of money. So if you become a master editor, where like every edit that you do, you just understand how to communicate to the audience, and they're watching your edit and they connect on that emotional level, people are going to hire you to recreate that for their projects, because it's not an easy thing to innately know how to make that kind of content, how to work on those kind of films. And there's just a way of thinking when an editor is in their element and really trying to understand, and they're able to watch a scene over and over and over again and just know how to build that intended meaning. If you guys have seen my latest video about how visuals are not enough, I actually talk about the Kuleshov effect, where you take one image of something and then you intersplice it with other images, and that combination of images builds an idea. And Hitchcock actually says, take a picture of an old man, then put an image of a lady with a baby, and then cut to the old man smiling. And what is he? He is now the kindly old man, you know, who loves babies. But then you keep those two images that are exactly the same, the old man and then the old man smiling, and you replace it with a girl in a bikini. So you have old man, what he's looking at is the girl in bikini, and then old man smiling. And now what is he? Now he's the perverted old man. Hitchcock actually says it much, much better than I do. Make sure you go check it out. It's the biggest mistake that 90% of new editors make. It's on my main channel. Make sure you go check it out. But so big benefit is you will have the lion's share of people coming, and the highest bidder will be hiring you if you're a master at the things that you're doing. Because there's not a lot of people that are so good at specific things. I was talking about the cinematographers. Those cinematographers that kind of shunned digital cinema, they're still getting a lot of work, but there's only like, I would say 20 of them in the world that are world class, and they're going to be busy until they stop working, literally. So it's not that they don't want to learn that other stuff. It's just that they can dictate the kind of prices that they would like to work on that stuff. So that's a great benefit. Big downside for being a master is that you really limit your ability to find new and exciting opportunities outside of that one very specific thing that you do. So you better love that thing that you do, that you're so good at, to keep doing it until the end of time, the end of your time. And there's so many things that I want to talk about when it comes into that realm where we talk about, you know, being good at something and getting paid. Because ultimately, as freelancers, we all want to, you know, make a really good living doing what we do and just keep going. But then a lot of people get stuck in, you know, finding a job, and then they keep wanting to take the paycheck. So maybe we'll talk about that afterwards. So those are the ups and downsides of being a master at something. You have the upside, full ability to make whatever you want and charge whatever you want, but then you only get stuck in doing that other thing, and people won't even consider you for something else. And I'm going to talk about a con for kind of both of them. And then the upside for being more capable in doing lots of different things, is then your opportunities become huge and wide, and you can choose what you want to work on because you're able to do so many different things. The problem arises that, this is the downside, you won't be able to charge those premium rates because then it becomes the dime a dozen kind of thing. Like if you can open up a phone book and people can hire the thing that you do just by choosing whichever logo they like, then that's more commodity based. So you have to be somewhere in this nice middle place where you're really good at, especially in the creative field, you're really good at a whole bunch of different things, but depending on the client that you're talking to, you present as a master in the thing, in the solution that they need. So that's a kind of medium spot where I have a whole group of clients that only know me as the camera DP. That's all they know me at. They don't even know that I can edit, color grade, do motion graphics. They don't know that I've done directing and photography, even photography, even though I'm the cameraman or DP. And then, so that's one sliver. And then I have the whole other sliver where I do motion graphics, 3D, and more post-production stuff. But they don't really know that I can do all this other stuff. They don't know that I can do camera related stuff. They don't know that I can be on set. They don't know that I can project manage a whole shoot from beginning to end. And that's really on me, that I've chosen to put myself into the silos depending on the client that is coming forward. But here's the upside of doing that. Because if you present yourself as an expert in that one field, in that one narrow thing that client is looking for, then you're able to charge that premium, do really good work with them because you are good at that thing, have them satisfied with the work, and then upsell them in the future on more work that is in a need that they didn't even know you were capable of. But because you've already done the work and they like working with you, so if you had a successful, relatively successful working experience, they'll be more open to hiring you to do that next bit that, like maybe filming if it was all post-production. And now they're like, well, we need someone to film. Do you know anyone? Well, actually, and then you send them that reel. And that's one thing I want to do in the new year. I want to do a new reel, and I want to take you guys on that journey of me collecting all the footage and, you know, seeing what reel it should go into. And, you know, I'm going to do a whole video that talks about how to set up a reel, what people are actually looking for. So make sure you subscribe to that. But yeah. So there's huge upsides to position yourself in the industry and to the client base that you're reaching out to. Because if you spray and pray and you say, I can do all these things, you're going to confuse the clients. Clients, they don't want necessarily someone that can do everything. They want someone that can solve their issue at hand. And sometimes you need to say, I'm really good at this, so you can charge that premium and find those clients that are willing to pay you that post-production stuff. But then the client says, well, we need someone to film it. And instead of jumping in and saying, I can film it, saying, let's build a team and we can do it together. Because if you get into a position where they want you to do the post-production, the filming, maybe even the scripting and the project management, don't try to do all that kind of stuff yourself. It's very, very tempting, and I've done it myself, but it leads to burnout. And I'm not talking the YouTube burnout where, you know, you're trying to think of ideas and it's not working and you kind of feel, no, like literally you're staying up until 4 a.m, waking up at 6, and just literally killing any kind of momentum or creativity that you had. So you need to be okay with being collaborative in this collaborative industry. Even though you may be really good at that thing, hire someone that you work with well. And there's actually a great way to kind of find those people now before you need them. And I've kind of done this where I would just reach out to people that I like their work, that I kind of stumbled upon in the past, and I would just say, hey, I love your work. I would love to work on a project if one ever comes up in the future. Two things happen at that point. I'm not committing to working with them, and they don't have to make a decision to work with me at all. Because what happens when someone sends you a DM, you read it, you check out their profile, and if the vibe is right, then it at least allows you to connect with those people. And because now I have this large catalog of people that I would want to work with, some of them are locally, some of them are kind of sprinkled around the world. It allows me to bid on projects that I would otherwise not want to bid on, because like, oh, that's in California. It's like, oh, I don't know anyone in California. And it's like, but if I've already met with people, that kind of chatted with them, said, complimented them on their work, and I liked their kind of work, I can present that to the client. This is the kind of work that we're going to do if that person agrees to work on their project. And if you get a whole bunch of people, sorry about that, if you get a whole bunch of people that you've kind of reached out to and just start little conversations, then when that time comes to work on that project, you can reach out to more than one of them, and you'll have a good chance that you'll be able to build that team. Because one of the most stressful things is trying to build a team and not knowing where to start, not knowing where to look, not already having that kind of outlook. And I've done this almost consistently every year through my company. I would do a call out for reels, and I would specify, not really looking to hire anyone, but send me your reels, and we're going to put it into our database. We'll take a look at it, and just to kind of see who's paying attention to the company, who would want to work with us, and if they would be a good fit. But that way I have a list of freelancers that are motion graphics, that are 3D, that are editing, that are camera, that can do all these different things, that when a project comes, I've already put it in the database and it works. So when a project comes, you want to find all those masters that altogether become the jack of all trades, or masters in that point. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at some of these comments. Gil, how's it going? Happy Thursday to you. Hope everyone is having a great day. I like to consider myself a jack of some trades. Yeah, I don't think so. I think you're doing pretty well following your channel right now, and I think you give yourself a little bit, not enough credit. I don't think you give yourself enough credit. You missed the whole point where I was chatting about where skill stacking actually becomes the more important thing. Instead of being a mile wide and an inch deep, you are an inch wide and a mile deep for one thing, but then you have all these other skills that give you this nice funnel of skills that you can stack. I know. Yeah. Anyways. So if I'm the cinematographer, I have to understand lighting, but knowing a bit of timber, metal knowledge would be handy for building rigs if I needed to make them safe. Huh. Yeah, that would be. So you're talking about, but knowing a bit of timber and metal. So I have to understand lighting to compose the shots, but knowing a bit of timber, metal knowledge. Sorry, can you expand on that? Because I'm a little bit confused. Are you talking about the thumbnail for this video or for the other video that I was chatting about? See, that's another skill that I never really had to learn, is to understand the psychology of thumbnails and how to try to attract. I'm still learning. Like, by no means have I mastered anything there. I just know, I know Photoshop, but that doesn't mean I know how to do thumbnails that actually attract and click. And so this whole YouTube thing, I've taken all the skills that I know and I've put them into one place, but it's a daunting task, because literally, instead of having a sound guy a camera guy behind there, you know, a DP to do the lighting, an editor to build all these things. Everyone that is doing a YouTube channel literally learns all those skills and has to become really good at them for their channels to do well. And that's just the look of the channel. But then there's this whole social media aspect of it. There's the thumbnails, the marketing, the links, the Instagrams, the TikToks, the Reels, the photos, and the stories, and the Twitter, and then connecting. And it's just like, wow. Like even learning how to be calm with yourself and understanding that when someone makes a rude or bad comment, that they're the ones that are probably having a bad day and they just stumbled upon your video and decided to take it out at that point, which sucks, but it's all good. It's all good. So, do you feel that your ability to get really good at something actually helps you get better at a whole bunch of other things that you're trying to get better at, that are just halo effect stuff getting better? And this is why I loved starting on the YouTube journey, because I felt that I got so much better at, first, my on-camera presence. My public speaking has become so much better. I remember that first time sitting in front of the camera and I was like nervous. I was shaking. I was like, I had to hit stop and start so many times. And I was just like, what am I trying to say? And then I was just being quiet, and I was too slow, and then I'd be too fast. And, you know, you watch all these other people that are just on camera and they have this presence that's just instant. Like, how did people do it? Like, I'm still trying to figure it out. I just know that I've become more comfortable. Like, I'm here talking to you, and I know I'm talking to you. Like, I've gone past, like, I'm looking at the camera, but I'm actually past the camera, and I'm actually picturing you guys. Like, I see your icons coming up. So it's like, when I'm saying something, I'm literally saying it to you, Bailey, or I'm saying it to you, Gil, or to Avars, or to Roger, or, you know, to all you guys. Like, I'm just great experience where I've gotten to the point where I feel comfortable enough to have these kind of talks. And the side benefit is that when I have meetings, like video call meetings, which have been huge over last year, I'm able to have a comfortable conversation. I shoot like this. Like these are how my Zoom calls look, and the people are like, wow, that looks great. Like that, boom, first impression. I know that they've already contacted me because they like the work that I do. So now I'm having a meeting with them because they just want to see, am I a good fit? And then they turn on the camera and this is what they see. Then they're like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He has a good sense of where we're trying to go. And they're usually like all backlit with like a window behind them, and the camera is looking up their nose because they're just using and they're like, well, I want my thing to look like your thing. And you can. And I've thought all this stuff through. I've done the work to make it feel the way I envisioned in my head. Because I know when I first turn on the camera, one of the first things that I do when I'm on set with people is that I would just stand there and kind of look at the room and try to vision it through the camera without even setting up the camera. Like, which way would I want to film? Like, what is the most interesting way to look at it? And before I started this channel, that's the one thing I did. Like, in this room, that is the most interesting angle. Like, if I turned this whole thing around, you may not be able to see it. No, I won't. No, but I can do this. Hold on a sec. Oops. Yeah, if I turn this whole screen around, there we go. Like, this is what I'm looking at. So I see you guys here. So like literally, I'm picturing you, Bailey, when I'm making a comment. Gil, and then Avars, and I'm just looking, and that's this is my setup. Nothing crazy. One light bouncing off of a reflector, and I have my one light up there. But this, for a lot of people, this actually becomes more, it's intimidating. And I felt the same way. Being in front of the camera right here and having this kind of conversation was weird AF. Autofocus. Come back to me. There we are. Talking to a camera is not natural. It takes practice. And am I mastered? No. Am I comfortable? Yes. I'm at that point where I feel nice and comfortable sitting in front of a camera. And I know that if I had to do a live reading or do a live interview, or if I needed to go out on stage and talk, I would still be very nervous talking in front of a large group of people. I've done it before, but now I think I would be more confident because of the skill that I've learned doing this thing. So I brought in the video editing, I brought in the camera and the lighting, and I already had a lot of the equipment. So I had a head start when it came to a lot of people that are starting on YouTube, where they just literally have their iPhone. They're like, I want to start a YouTube channel. Yes, you should. But getting to that point and getting to a point where you're comfortable talking to an object, but helps so much when you have you there to talk to, because that's what helps me have these conversations. I literally try to have conversations as though I'm having a conversation with a friend, as though you're sitting right there and we're just having a chat, like, hey, these are my thoughts about this thing. And that's why I do want to still figure out how to do the Clubhouse or open up where we can have just a bigger group discussion, because I think that would be a fantastic way to do it. So if you guys are up for that, make sure you hit the like button, and I'll try to make it happen. Speaking of making it happen, next week, make sure you join me. I think it's going to be on the 23rd for a live stream. It's going to be on my main channel. 23rd? Yes. So next week, the 23rd, the eve before Christmas Eve, I'm going to have a live stream on my main channel, and I'm going to have some giveaways. And I'm working on some pretty cool, fun stuff. So make sure you guys join me for that. I'll be sending out the reminder earlier in the week. But yeah, join me for that. I want to have some surprises for that one. Giveaways. I'm going to see if I can get someone to come and join me, maybe. We'll see. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a wrap up of the year and kind of go and digest the YouTube and all, the YouTube successes that all the people that are doing YouTube. I want to talk about the wins and some of the things that didn't necessarily pan out. But yeah. So with Ecamm, not sure if you have the right plan, but you can use interviewed mode to get people in and talk. Yes, but you can only get 10 people max, and it's video. It's video based. And I reached out to the developers of Ecamm if they would be able to have that feature, but audio only, where I can send an invite, but it's audio only. That way people just need a microphone or the phone, and that would be a great way to do a call-in show. We'll see if they're able to add that in the future. I think that would be a great way. So I tried, the last time we did Zoom, the one thing I didn't like about the Zoom is that I couldn't get the picture-in-picture to work properly. But maybe we can do, maybe, we'll see. Maybe I'll do some tests this week and see if we can do something. Would you guys be up for that? Would you guys want to do a call-in show and just have the opportunity to just sit and chat, and we'll do a live giveaway on a few things? I think that'd be pretty cool. So let me ask you, what are your plans? I'm going to talk about this next week as well. But what are your plans for next year? What is the big goal that you'd want to do to achieve for 2022? What is the thing that I know you have it? I know it's there in the back of your head, and you're like, by the end of 2022, I want this. What is that? What is that one big thing? I'll tell you what I want. I'm going to tell you next week, but I'll tell you something else. By the end of next year, my big goal, and it doesn't have to be a creative goal. It doesn't have to be a huge, win. It doesn't have to be anything big. Like, it could be something as simple as I want to get fit next year. That's definitely one of mine for next year. I finally got into a nice rhythm where I can start incorporating working out again. The world seems manageable, I guess. Like it's predictable. If there's new waves or whatnot, but like definitely working out is something that is big on my list to try to achieve next year. You're right, Gil. Discord is a good option. So I'm gonna look into what the best thing is. So Avars, goal and plan is not the same. This is true. I will keep posting weekly videos. So yeah, what is your plan and what's your goal? Because apparently you're supposed to make your goal so much bigger than what you actually need to achieve. Like if you want to make $1 million next year, people say aim for $10 million. Or if you want to get 100,000 subscribers, you aim for 1 million subscribers. And that's a great way, a great mindset way to wrap your mind around it, to reframe it in your mind, is instead of trying to figure out what do I need to do to get to, say, 100,000 subscribers, if you start asking yourself, what do I need to do to get to 1 million subscribers, then 100,000 subscribers actually becomes an achievable goal because it's 1/10 of where you're trying to go. Like, what would you need to do to achieve 10,000 subscribers on YouTube? Or, sorry, 10 million subscribers on YouTube. And I know all these are milestones. Like, say your goal is to get 10,000 subscribers by the end of next year. Ask yourself, what do I need to do to get 100,000 subscribers? Because that pushing and doing the things that would require you to get to 100,000 subscribers will easily blow you past 10,000 subscribers. Like, how many videos would that mean more? How many collaborations? How many more, different ideas? How would you film differently? How would you, structure your ideas differently? All of it becomes in different places. Like it really solidifies and gets your brain thinking about what you want to achieve. So if there's a financial goal, you want to, invest $10,000. Well, what would it take to invest $100,000 and start thinking about that? Because then you'll find those opportunities. Maybe you'll charge more for the next job. Yeah. Oh, and since you guys are here and you guys are literally some of the people that I talk to the most on a regular basis, I want to get your opinion. How would you guys feel if I did a sponsored video on my main channel? Like, one of those ones where I'm doing the video and then kind of go into a 1 to 2 minute ad break within the video that is relevant to what I'm talking about and something that you guys may be interested in. Would you guys be okay with that? Or would you guys literally skip over that part? And I know that you do it because I do it too. But I do it for the bigger channels, the channels that get they do that almost in every video. So how would you guys feel? Would you guys be okay with it? Would you guys care? Would you guys just be like, I don't know. I'm kind of gauging the field right now. There may be an opportunity. There may not be. I don't know. I may look into it a little bit more. I may reach out to some brands to try to do some sponsored stuff to see if I can actually get to a point where I can make this more of a sustainable thing. And maybe do some cooler, bigger things than just me sitting and having little conversations and doing more thought-based examples. I actually miss being on set. I really do miss being on set. I haven't been on set more than 3 times in the last 2 years, which kind of sucks. Like I wanted to get on set. I had, before the whole pandemic happened back in January 2020, I had projects lined up that were international. I was gonna do whole vlogs based on me traveling, going through how the shoots are actually set up, and then do behind the scenes on the shoot, and then show the final product, and do the editing. All that went away. Like I had everything already in planned. I had got the approvals to do all that, and yeah, I started doing different things. But still, here we are. It's been a good year. It's been a good, fun year on YouTube, even though I did take 6 weeks off from November till about, middle of October to November. It was well needed, absolutely. Let's see. So for 2022, work on my YouTube channel and automize my studio space. Yes, it is very beneficial if you have your studio space ready to go at a moment's notice when you're ready. When you're ready to film, the studio's ready, instead of being ready to film and then having to set up the studio, or at least turn everything on, position everything in the right way. It's a good place to be, and actually, I found that it helped me film more videos. I actually film bulk when I can. I write my scripts because I like to be as efficient as possible when it comes to what I'm trying to communicate. But yeah, I agree. Studio space looks cool. If you ever travel, if Bailey ever travels to that part of the world, he will be visiting. Well, he's in Florida, so it's a good place to visit. I hear it's warm. Wait, you're in Australia. Totally okay with sponsored, and I would definitely watch even that part. Well, I'm working on something that may be worth your while. But actually, next week, if you guys do a lot of A-roll videos, make sure you check out next week's video, because I'm going to be talking about something that solves the biggest problem for almost all editors that have to work with A-roll. So I'm going to talk about that, and it's going to be like, I've started using it, and it's awesome, and anyways, we'll talk about that next week. That'll be next week's video. And then on the live stream, again, we're going to do some giveaways, and we're going to have some fun there. Okay, let's go for 1 million subscribers. Bailey, you're welcome to come by anytime. Just don't bring the tarantulas or any poisonous animals. Don't make that promise. Bring whatever you want. Would 100% be fine with sponsorship. You definitely, well, I don't know if I deserve it, but I'm going to definitely take it. So here's something interesting, because I was having that conversation with someone, and I kept saying, and this is where mindset is huge when it comes to everything that you and I do. So I kept saying, because I was trying to figure out what I should price if I wanted to do this kind of stuff. And there's not a lot of direct info online on how much you should charge for this kind of stuff. It really depends on the size of the channel, the type of audience, the amount of views. There's a whole bunch of things that go into it. And the one thing I kept saying over and over again is that I don't really need this. I don't really need sponsorship. So this is what I'm thinking of charging. And then he literally stopped me and he said, why don't you just act as though you do need it? What would you charge at that point? What would you charge if you did need that money? What would be the price then? And for some reason, that was something that went just in my head. Why not? I don't need it, so there's little risk. But because I'm thinking of that way, I'm already kind of saying no to it. And it's like, no, I don't, you know. But like literally having, when you said that idea of like, think of it as though you do need it and charge accordingly, that this is, or maybe your full income and you'll need to get that. What would you offer then? What would they get? And what would you charge for that? And that was such a mind-opening comment that really struck home. And it's like instantly everything became clear on how much I would charge. And if the client says yes, fantastic. If the client says no, no just stands for next opportunity. So I'll just go for the next opportunity. It wasn't for them. And the other thing is, you don't, if you're at a point where you will start getting sponsorships or people asking you for sponsors, you shouldn't do a free review. I don't think anyone should do a free review. I think at least be like, I will do this review. I'll take the product, unless it's a really expensive product. But if it's a kind of entry level product, you can say, I'll do this for at least $250 or $500, or just, you know, give them a number and let them say no. Let them be the one to walk away from the opportunity, because they'll find as many people as they want to make a review. Unless you want to make the review on, like, ultimately it's your choice what you want to do. But what was I saying? But it's 3:30. Look at you guys go, just chatting away. So sponsored videos are great. I'm working on it. I haven't done any yet because I have been kind of pushing a lot of these off into the distance. Sponsored videos don't bother me. Understand that that's the way to be able to make bigger money on YouTube. Yeah. And I want to see if I can actually put more time into this. And that's kind of what I was talking about. And so ask yourself, when you do start getting those brand opportunities, and you will, what would be the number? Because there's a way to calculate it based on your CPM, and you multiply the views and it becomes confusing. Or the way I went is just charge what you want and negotiate from that point. Always start with, ask them what their budget is. Ask them what they're willing to spend on something. And if they don't give anything, then just put this is the number that I'm comfortable with, and have playroom in your head to get it done. So you need to figure that out now. And if any of you guys want to have an offline discussion about this, then we can definitely do that. I can go through my thinking a little bit more thoroughly with that, and how I came to the prices that I came to. But yeah, it's something that I don't want to put out here, because that's one big thing that a lot of people say. Because every channel is completely different, there is no set rate. So you can ask for what you want, but don't make it public and put a date on it. Like, this is the price for the next 90 days. And it's subject to change. And that's a great way to go about it, because you don't want someone to come back 2 years later and be like, well, you know, we negotiated, and, you know, we said we'll do it later, and then they're still trying to honor your, you know, site when it was, you know, like 80% smaller than it is, you know, a year from now. And that's the best way to grow, is to kind of put your foot down and ask for what you want. And if people aren't willing to give you, if people aren't willing to come up to the price that you've set, you don't owe them affordability. You're just out of their budget. And it's a great, powerful way. Like, everything that I try to do is to reframe in a stance where it's just like, okay, this is what I'm worth, this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm not going to negotiate myself out of that price. And if people are willing to come up to my level, or if it's like Nike and they want to come, and, you know, for them, they'll be coming down because their budgets are huge. But always be thinking in that way, because it's a lot easier to be like negative and be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't charge so much. Charge more. Whatever your number is, double it. And let the client say no to the opportunity to work with you. All right, guys, I'm going to call it for today. You guys have been amazing. Like, seriously, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for having these talks. It allows me to vent a lot of ideas and to bounce ideas off of people that I know exactly what I'm talking about. And I actually have a lot of fun. So next week, I'm going to try to have a call-in show. I'll figure out how it is, and we'll make it work. It'll either be Discord, it'll be Zoom, it'll be something. And so make sure your cameras are ready. Next week, this time, December 23rd, it's going to be on the main channel. We're going to have some giveaways. We're going to just chat about the goals for the bigger goals for 2022. We're going to talk about the wins for 2021, the ups and downs, and just have a all-around recap of last year and looking into the future. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Fix it in camera, finesse it in post. Love you guys. Have a great week. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.